Well, I'm Sam, and I'm just a guy. I mean, I like to cook. I'm a chef. I like playing video games. I love my girlfriend.
He told me he had Asperger's on about the maybe fourth or fifth date, and I didn't really know what to do with the information that he had Asperger's. I had heard of it before and didn't really remember what it was, so he told me about it and I didn't know what to do with it because I didn't really see it in him. I thought he was just sort of normally awkward, and my college is a hotbed of awkward people, so it didn't stand out to me at all.
People with Asperger's, we tend to be relatively egotistical. That's also true of chefs, so I'm sort of doubly that, but we tend to see ourselves as relatively infallible, even though we are quite fallible. I was acting out a lot. I was, very uncontrollable and, just kind of crossing a lot of boundaries and interruptive in class. I hid in a cupboard. I wouldn't do my homework. I barricaded myself in the vice principal's office with chairs. It shapes how I look at the world. It shapes, my experiences growing up. It shapes, how hard it is for me to make friends, how focused I can get into the things I love. It's hard to tell where the collection of traits that are defined as Asperger's syndrome end and the rest of my personality begin. A school is just a hellish place for everybody, and particularly for somebody with a learning disability or particularly a social disability. The academics just didn't matter to me. It was, I'm smart, people know I'm smart, I shouldn't wind up running into any problems. I should be able to just sort of achieve my dreams and let them happen. I wound up with maybe a 1.3 GPA, maybe? A lot of times, I hadn't really learned a lot of, excuse me, of how to, I hadn't learned a lot of how to interact with people. It was very, very difficult to keep a conversation going for more than 2 or 3 sentences. And I mean, I could talk, but I just couldn't. I was very, very bad at the give and take. I say something about cheese, and then they say something about ham, and then I say something about, rockets. And they go, what? I thought we were talking about food. And I go, well, I thought of a rocket.
When I met him, Sam was actually finishing up culinary school. He was working on his internship at Sea Change, actually. But not long after I met him, he finished his internship and moved on to his work at Cafe Lavon. And ever since then, he's been working in the restaurant there.
My personal interests right now would, if I had to limit it to like 1 or 2, would probably be, well, cooking obviously, and then video games. This is my nerd shelf. I'm required to contain most of my nerdery to that shelf. The cooking is, I've made a career out of it, which works, and that's going to be my interest hopefully for the rest of my life. I'm interested in the science of food, the molecular gastronomy side, the looking at the chemistry and physics of why when we cook this food and do these things to it this way, does it come out like this, but then if we just tweak it very slightly, it comes out completely different.
Sam proposed in the middle of December, and it was a very surprising thing.
I was like, well, I don't want to, wait much longer than that because I'm getting antsy. And so I decided at work, I was like, okay, well, when I get home, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to ask her to marry me, and that'll be that. He
actually came home, and I was trying to joke around with him. We walked into the bedroom, and then he was going to the sock drawer, and I was like, what's going on? Why do you need socks when you just got home? Then he pulled out the little case, and I was like, oh. And then he opened it up, and I was like, uh-oh, and he got down on one knee, and I just turned around and went, no, no.
No, no, no.
And started dragging him out into the living room. And then we sort of decided that it would be better to do it in a more traditional way. So we went to campus.
More romantic.
Yeah, more romantic. We wanted a better story. We went under this bell tower, which is on campus. It's been there for hundreds of years, and he proposed under that, which was very sweet.
One thing that I think is absolutely essential to the success of somebody who has autistic spectrum disorder is finding a career path that ties into like your core interest, because then you can keep knowledge of your interest growing, which keeps you interested, but then it's something that you care about, and we're damn good about stuff that we care about.